Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this, the first of our concert series this fall, the Digital Music Memorial Series. We're delighted to be able to welcome Duo Concertante. But before I introduce Duo Concertante in the concert, as we do at all music memorial events, I want to offer a land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk. We also would like to recognize the Inuit and Nunatsiavut and Nunatukavut and the Inuit-Tsinen and their ancestors as the original people of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. Our 2020 Digital Music and Memorial Concert Series is packed with phenomenal music and musicians. And tonight we have the pleasure of spending some time with violinist Nancy Dawn and pianist Timothy Steeves, of course better known to all of us as Duo Concertante. They are amongst Canada's most lauded and recognized concert and recording artists, but here at Memorial, they're simply known as Nancy and Tim. They're longtime faculty members, university research professors. Earlier today when I was chatting with Nancy, she actually said, "We're really glad to be back in the teaching saddle because they just came back from a really productive sabbatical year." Now, I won't go through their long list of accolades and achievements. We'd be here till tomorrow morning if I did that. But I wanted to highlight a few things. Firstly, they just released their 12th album, an album this time of music by Franz Schubert, and it's aptly titled Franz Schubert, Music for Violin and Piano. It's gotten rave reviews from critics all over the place, but I wanted to read you a few words from a CBC review. In that review, it says, they, Duo Concertante, strike the right balance, playing with uncanny unity of purpose, whether spinning a heart-wrenching melody or bringing the ruckus. I thought that was a fantastic quote for that CD and also their behavior in faculty meetings. I'm kidding. They don't bring the ruckus in faculty meetings, at least not very often. They're also, of course, artistic founding directors of the International Tuckamore Chamber Music Festival, and this year they celebrated their 20th anniversary festival. And Nancy and Tim led that festival to an incredible pivot to a virtual environment, of course, in these trying times that we find ourselves in. And they're to be congratulated for that, and also to the whole festival for making 20 years. Finally, I want to highlight their Ecology of Being project. So not only have they released their 12th album, not only did they launch the 20th anniversary concert and festival for Tuckamore, but they've also got this phenomenal, powerful Ecology of Being project, which is intended to inspire reflection about climate change and particularly humanity's role in the planet's decline. At the same time, of course, it's also about reminding us and honoring the beauty of this planet, our environment, and nature. It's about helping us think on the environmental legacy that we're providing to future generations. The Ecology of Being project, some of which you'll get to hear this evening, brings together 5 composers with 5 brand new commissions for Duo Concertante. And in my interaction and experience of this project, it's really bringing the arts, music, and science, ecology together, speaking to our minds and, importantly, our hearts about the climate crisis that we all face together. So tonight's concert is entitled The Nature of Things. I'm not sure if we checked with David Suzuki on that, but we're going to assume we did. Features 3 of the 5 works from the Ecology of Being. Firstly, Ian Kusan's The Garden of Earthly Delights. Secondly, Carmen Braden's The Seed Knows, and Dawn Avery's The Waters, the Women. Also in tonight's concert, you'll hear some beloved chamber music for violin and piano that we all know quite well. Beethoven's Spring Sonata and the second movement of Smetana's From My Homeland. So I'll stop talking shortly and we'll get to the concert itself, but I want to ask all of you to stick around for the after show, as it were, when we get to hang out and chat and converse with Duo Concertante. Nancy and Tim, they're going to be here with me, 6 feet apart, of course. And for our students watching, we've got a special Widja announcement after the show, and we'll explain that once we hear some wonderful music. So enjoy the show, everyone. Duo Concertante, The Nature of Things.
Deetino e ladune o nekasu. Deetino e ladune yagongue. Te tino e ladone, yagongue. Te tino e ladone, oneka su. Te tino e ladone, yagongue. Tony Wenage.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the performance. I have Nancy and Tim here, Duo Concertante. Congratulations on a fantastic concert. Thank you very much.
Thanks again.
I thought we'd have a chat about some of the music that was in that performance. So three of the pieces that you performed were from your new Ecology of Being work. So the Kusan Garden of Earthly Delights, Dawn Avery's The Waters, the Women, and Carmen Braden's The Seed Knows. Those are quite descriptive titles. What's behind them?
Well, the Kusan Garden of Earthly Delights, he was actually inspired by Hieronymus Bosch, who was a medieval painter, and it's actually a wood panel, a triptych that probably would have been placed behind an altar in a church, and it depicts scenes from the creation and also futuristic scenes of just mass destruction and mayhem. Only as they would only know how to do in medieval times, really. It's quite striking, and so that's the inspiration behind that work.
And then, yes. So Carmen Braden is a young composer living in the Northwest Territories, and this piece is inspired by a book that she read about sort of the life of the seed and what plants can sort of know inherently about their growth. And the score is really fascinating because in Tim's part, he had his two hands often going outwards in the keyboard. And if you look at the score, then you see the right hand doing this shape and the left hand underneath doing this shape. And it sort of looks like the roots of a plant and the growth going upwards of a plant as well. And then my role in the piece is to act like the seed. And so I was playing a repeated note over and over, first a C and then a D and then an E. And sort of the seed is ever present and it's inspiring this growth, and there may be mutations and things like that happening, but the seed is still there even though it changed color and became kind of different things throughout the process. So it's a very interesting score conceptually, and then the piece ends up sounding really interesting and beautiful too, we think.
And different every time you do it, yeah.
Yeah. And such an interesting interaction between the piano and the violin in that, with all of your long sustained tones throughout, and then more movement in the keyboard part. Yeah, that's great. And the third piece, Dawn Avery's The Water, the Women, where, Tim, you get to speak Mohawk.
I get to speak Mohawk. Yeah, that was a tremendous experience working on that piece. That piece pays tribute to the murdered and missing Aboriginal women in the United States and Canada. And The Waters, the Women, Dawn told us that water is very important, a symbol of life, and of course women as well, the givers of life. So it's a relationship between the two. And what I'm speaking is a prayer of thanksgiving. The first, it's actually two parts to the prayer. The first pays tribute to, or we give thanks for water, and then that's the first piece, and the second one is we give thanks to the women. And I spent a long time. I spent a long time working on it just to get it right. And Dawn sent me a recording of her saying the words and everything, and I felt really privileged to be able to do that.
Another thing I'll mention about the piece that's really interesting, in the second movement, I'm playing a very quiet, ethereal sort of line, which is a quote from a Bach sonata. And Tim, meanwhile, has lots of kind of crashing interruptions. And so that's sort of about the, conflict or the different worlds kind of colliding between indigenous and colonial settler world. And it was wonderful to workshop it with Dawn because, when we first got that score and we see that I'm supposed to be playing quietly, and then we record ourselves and Tim's playing so loud, and we're like, that balance can't be right at all, And then Dawn says, no, Tim, you need to be louder. Nancy, you need to be quieter. So it is supposed to create, a kind of unsettling, sort of jarring feeling.
So Also interested in that interaction between the composer and you as performers, because throughout your careers you have commissioned quite a large body of works for violin and piano. So what is that process like when you're working with a composer, particularly a composer perhaps you haven't worked with before? Like, how do you get into their music? Do you know what they're writing for you before it's finished? That kind of, like, what is that interplay? What's that interaction like?
Well, usually we just give them carte blanche, to just do whatever they want. I mean, in this case with Ecology of Being, we gave them a broad theme of climate emergency and what we're leaving to the next generation. And then we're always really excited to see what we're going to get, and then we learn the piece, and then we usually make a video or a recording to send to them, and then we wait with trepidation. No. And then often we have a Zoom call or something like that and discuss the piece and work on it and maybe send them another version. And that part is just so wonderful, because then you get to actually know what the piece is really about. I mean, with Beethoven, obviously we can't be asking him that.
But a lot of it depends on the composer too. Some composers are very hands-off and don't get involved too much, and others. For these, because it was a total of 5 works for Ecology of Being, I mean, we depended quite a bit on Dawn, for guidance, and with Carmen as well, the seed nose. They were really
requires a lot of rubato, and so she really encouraged us to do more of that.
Yeah. Wow. So it all depends, really. Yeah.
That's fantastic process that just combines the compositional artist as well as you as performing artists composing in real time as well on stage. Yeah. I know that the Ecology of Being project is you're hoping to inspire people to reflect on the climate crisis and change. I'm just wondering how you came to that, because this is a new area for Duo Concertante, and you've done many innovations across your careers. I'm just thinking, how did this theme come at this point in your careers?
Well, we had the opportunity to really have a sort of legacy project when we got funding from the New Chapters program for the Canada Council, and we wanted there to be sort of a broad theme that meant a lot to us. Tim's dad was a famous biologist, and one of my parents was quite an activist, and I don't know, and obviously this is something we're all thinking about, so it just felt like the right subject at the right time.
And we're also getting to the stage where we're thinking, sort of what else can we do? I mean, when you're young and starting out, you're thinking a lot about, this might sound selfish, and I don't mean it that way, but you're thinking about your careers and doing what you can, and we're at the stage now where we really think artists really have a real role to play in leadership and in showing ideas, and I think that's where we are, and that was, I think, one of the inspirations behind this project.
And I mean, and the result in these pieces is just, I mean, there are 2 other pieces that weren't on this concert tonight, but they all approached it in very different ways and sort of shed light on issues in a different manner. So, yeah.
In my interaction with these pieces, which has been obviously as an audience member, and hearing them through the Tuckmore Festival a few weeks ago, it really felt like an incredible combination of sort of arts, music, obviously performance, and science and ecology to speak both to the mind and to the heart about these issues.
That's putting it really well. I wish I'd said that. Yeah, thank you, Ian.
Come on tour with us.
Sure. I'm not sure we can fly right now, but the last question I had for you was just generally around your performances. So what have you got coming up?
Well, we're actually playing with the NSO next week. So we're thrilled to be, pulling up the Mendelssohn Double Concerto and playing that and making music on a stage with other musicians besides each other. That's going to be really nice.
Has COVID been a tough time for you guys?
No.
We won't go there. No.
For those watching, in case you weren't in the know, they're married, which is also why they're allowed to sit next to each other.
No, it's been good for us. I mean, I don't know if that's a proper thing to be saying about COVID, but it has made us rethink a a lot of things. And, you know, after next week, it's really still not day by day, but in terms of performance, it's week by week. We still don't know what's going to happen. Some things are still in the books, others have been taken off, and that can be that's really stressful. But you know, we've been doing this for a long time, and we depend on each other, and that part of it's been really good.
And Tim will be back on October the 1st with Joe on this series, right?
And the end of October.
October 29th, I think it is,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
You're both playing together on the 29th. What's the name of the concert on October 29th?
Oh, it's a great concert. It pays tribute to Mr. Beethoven, and it's called Bon Appetit.
I'm presuming that Bonn is spelled B-O-N-N.
Yes, of course. Yes, his birth town.
The birthplace of, Beethoven. Fantastic. And October 1st, a concert that you're doing with
Joe Argentino.
Joe Argentino. Fantastic. I want to double check with our marketing person, Chelsea, to see if there are any questions from audience members.
No direct questions, but Brianna said, awesome music. Can't wait to hear you perform again. We have a lot of fantastic comments. Please feel free, anyone who's continuing to watch, to submit anything you'd like.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you again for this fantastic performance this evening, of course, for all the work that you do here at the School of Music. And I'd invite everybody at home to give Tim and Nancy a wonderful round of applause in your living rooms, dining rooms, or basement rec rooms, wherever you happen to be watching this. Bathtubs, perhaps. Yes. Be careful with that one.
Open up.
Yeah, you're opening up a...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We'll just segue to another thing here, yeah.
Okay, sorry, Ian.
No, it's okay. Actually, we do have something left to announce, which is a really cool way for students in particular to engage with the Music at Memorial concert series this fall. And as I said in the introduction, it's called Witwidja. Now, that's W-I-T-W-I-J-A, Witwidja, which stands for, you might be wondering, where in the world is Joe Argentino?
Where in the world is Joe Argentino?
Joe Argentino has gone missing, and it's up to you to find him. Where in the World is Joe Argentino is a game that'll take place as part of our fall Music at Memorial concert series. Joe will drop a clue about his location in every concert from now until November. If you figure out where in the world he is, we'll put your name in a drawing to win a concert pass for the winter 2021 Music at Memorial concert series, a very fashionable Memorial University hoodie, a trophy with your name on it that'll be displayed at the School of Music, and, of course, bragging rights that you were the one to bring Joe Argentino back to his beloved theory students.
Where in the world is Joe Argentino?
So now that you know that the School of Music also has a great sense of humor, this is a wonderful new way for you to engage with the concert series and try to find Joe Argentino somewhere in the world over the course of the concert series. He'll be popping up in concerts coming to you at this time on our Thursday evening shows. Speaking of which, I want to give a plug for next week. We have the East Coast Music Award Indigenous Artist of the Year winners, Eastern Owl. We're absolutely delighted to have them performing for us next week. So tune in, same time, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. And then the other concerts, of course, are listed on our website and in our social media channels. You can get tickets for the show, or indeed, we'd encourage you to buy a concert pass, series pass for the fall. You can get that through Ticket Pro. All the information is on our website, www.mun.ca/music. You can also check us out on all of our social media channels where that information is also to be found. On Facebook, we're at Music at Mun, and on Twitter and Instagram, we're at Music at Memorial. I'll end off by once again thanking and congratulating Duo Concertante, a fantastic performance. And thank you to our fantastic crew that is producing the digital series for Music at Memorial, which is Pete Stambridge, Chelsea Walsh, and Steve Lilly. And to thank all of you, our audience members and supporters, for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great evening.